Hi everyone, welcome to Mega Shift today. I'm joined here with Bie Aweh, who is a colleague of mine from Dev Bootcamp and is an amazing woman doing amazing things in a number of communities, including the venture capital world. So I'm joined here with Bie. Happy to have you.
Thank you for having me, Ro.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're going to be talking about HBCU.vc today, which is your project, which is Historically Black University and Colleges Venture Capital Fund. That's correct?
Historically Black Colleges and Universities Venture Capital. Yeah.
Wonderful. So I would love to start by having you explain a bit about HBCU.vc and your role.
Yeah, so HBCU.vc, Historically Black Colleges and Universities to Venture Capital, and there are about 100 or so HBCUs in the country today, and so what we do is focus on working with those students to expose them to viable career options in the VC space. I think so much of the conversations in the innovation economy today is that the only way to participate is to learn how to code. And this is my personal belief, not necessarily HBCU VCs, but I think the great thing about what we're doing is showing people or exposing people who may not unfortunately always have exposure to this, that this is a viable career option. And we work with, we have two components of the initiative. The first component is the student investment program, and the other component is the VC school. And VC school is open to anyone. And in fact, if you go on hbcu.vc right now, you can register. And student investment program are students who have actively applied and interviewed and presented their projects, which was an incredible experience. My mind was totally blown. And so we have 11 student investors, and they represent probably about 5 or 6 different HBCUs, including FAMU, Fisk University, Prairie View University, and the list goes on. So I'm really excited about these young students who are just like eager to get into and hungry for more knowledge. And so we partner them with different VCs from all over the country, certainly the Silicon Valley, but folks who are VCs in, say Philadelphia. And I think that's another important piece, right? Because so much of the conversation is that, is tied to the Silicon Valley. And I think for me, it's important to shift the narrative that you don't necessarily have to be in the SV to be successful, right? And so giving them the tools and the resources, equipping them with mentorship, most importantly, to show that these things can happen everywhere, not just in one specific concentrated area. So I'm really proud to be a part of that.
Amazing. So it sounds like a very robust program. So could you talk a little bit about what are some of the expectations that are the student investors and the students who go through the program? What are the expectations and what can they expect to get in terms of support or structure around the program?
Yeah, so in terms of support, like I mentioned, we talked about the mentorship with real actual VCs, which I think is super important. But within that, they are getting to learn the day-to-day of what a VC looks like, right? So everything from assessing term sheets and doing market research. I think all these things are super invaluable experiences, and so they're getting that exposure. They're also expected to participate, at least with me, where I come in. My role is as an advisor, and that's a really fancy way of saying like I do whatever the team needs me to do. And so I work with them to make sure that they're able to articulate their experience in terms of like getting it on their resume and LinkedIn, and to really career support, right? Because I think our goal is that setting them up for future successes. And so that's been super exciting. But in terms of expectations, it certainly is the mentor and being engaged with your mentor, but also just like, there are steps along the way, or checkpoints along the way that they're expected to fulfill, and including in every respective city of which the university is in, they're expected to put on a program that is focused on entrepreneurship, which I think is really awesome, right? Because when we think about social impact, not only are we doing social impact at that level in terms of engagement with the students, historically marginalized populations, we're also expecting them to bring that resource and knowledge back to their communities. And so I think that's incredibly awesome, right? Because we want to make sure, particularly the towns and cities in which HBCUs exist, with the exception of probably like Howard University, they tend to be a little bit isolated places, right? They're not big cities like, say New York or Boston or something like that. And so making sure that we're bringing those resources back to those communities, I think for me is super, super impactful, and I'm excited to see what happens.